Anyway, hey guys, I know this is crazy. You didn't expect 2 videos one day. Except from that time I did Ellie is Evil, but we're not going to talk about that. What we are going to talk about is my new theory. I have a theory for Little Nightmares 2, and I've put a lot of time and effort into this theory. So what my theory is it's about the signal tower and what it is. Right. So pretty much, what I believe is that the signal tower and stuff, I'm going to quote Shrek here, is like onions. It has layers. And that's no joke. I genuinely believe it has layers. So there's quite a few layers to this, but personally, I think this works. Before I get onto the layers, here's what I believe the signal tower this is what I believe what the signal is. I believe that the signal is actually its own entity. The signal can't actually enter our physical realm because of its immense power. It knows it's too powerful, so it has to stay out of the physical realm, because it obviously wants the physical realm to do its evil stuff. So it's like, I don't want to mess this up, I gotta stay out of there. Anyway, so the first layer is, I'm gonna go down. So I'm gonna start with the outer layer first. So on the outside, we have Mono and Six. What I believe Mono and Six are, they are actually just puppets of the signal. Of the entity. I'm gonna call the signal the entity, because it's unknown. It's just an entity. But, so pretty much, that we have the Mono and Six. They are merely just puppets to the signal, but they've broken free somehow. They're still slightly tethered, so they still do the things that the signal desires it to do, but yet they have their own sentience to it. They don't follow the rules exactly. They follow the path, but not the rules. They slightly go off of it, but very shortly, they fix it. They do. Just like, if you remember Six eats the gnome, but then at the end, the gnomes thank her because she did all the killing. The gnomes are now, happy. She wasn't scripted to kill, but she did. Then the signal was like, gotta fix it up. And she made her do something good with the gnomes. Anyway, the next layer is Shadow Six. What I believe Shadow Six is the signal inside of Six controlling her. You see, because if you know the secret ending for number 2, spoilers, yes, many spoilers for this video, she goes into, once she escapes the TV, there's Shadow Six appears and looks at them all. What I believe, Shadow Six is how Six is a puppet, because Shadow Six is the signal inside of her. But now, because they're separate entities, Six has her own consciousness. She can think for herself more. And Shadow Six, outside of her, it can manipulate her to help her get her back on the right track, but it's almost can't do anything. It is the signal that's making her a puppet. And now that they're gone, and now that they're separate, she's conscious of that. She's realising that for most of her life she's just been a puppet to this big plan of an unknown entity. Anyway, the next layer, the lady and the thin man. What they are, they're just like Six and Mono, merely just puppets. One more loyal than the other. Mono, the thin man, sorry, he is loyal to the entity entirely. He goes by the script, he goes by the rules. He is what Mono will be. He will be a replacement for that puppet. But it had to be done earlier than was wanted to. So of course he went off script and killed the thin man. Which is why Ellie, or Six, betrays Mono. Because she's being re-scripted to help get Mono back on the script. It just had to be done quicker than was usual. And then the lady, ruler of them all, she is just like Six. She is untethered to her signal. She merely manipulates the signal now. She cannot fully control herself, because she wants to stay young. She wants to look young, and does that by taking the essence of pure children. But you see, that is not what the signal wants. The signal wants her merely to be a puppet, to control, to just help. Those two are to just help him balance himself out. So he's weaker, but he has more influence, and he has more control over himself. And the lady is using the signal for not what he wanted. She went off her own script and making herself look more beautiful. And I believe that mirror hole thing is actually the signal punishing her. Because the signal's like, I can't undo this. I can't take away your power, because if I did, that would not be good. So, what I'm going to do is that mirrors reveal what you truly look like. And, yeah. It's just that she's off script while the thin man is going by the script. Anyway, then we have the next layer, the TVs. The TVs are just simple. They broadcast the entity's influence. They broadcast the entity. That's it. They show him, and that's it. Then we get to the signal tower, which I believe is not merely a tower. What I believe it is merely a thing. It is almost its own living entity. And it's made to solely assist the entity, or the signal. Almost like a wheelchair aids a disabled person. Without the wheelchair, they would not be able to do anything. And with the entity, without the signal tower, it wouldn't be able to broadcast as efficiently, and wouldn't be able to contain itself. It's almost like a prison it's almost like a wheelchair prison, but it's willingly there. Support itself, or else it could get out of control and he just wouldn't be able to control himself, and it needs to keep him locked away so he can't accidentally release his power too early. And if you remember, they never actually destroyed the signal tower. The inside is destroyed, but the inside's something different. That is a reflection of the entity's true realm. Not his true realm, just a reflection. Where then, we get to the next layer, the eye sludge. The eye sludge is just an amalgamation of signal. It's his physical form of trying to keep himself balanced. He can't exactly reveal his true form, because he really has no true form. He is merely just a signal. But the eyes are like a physical representation of the signal, which is why they reside in the signal tower. The signal tower is the wheelchair. The eyes is the host of the wheelchair, or the host of the entity. It's merely just a puppet, but reflecting him. Because all I believe the entity actually is just a eye. He's just an eye. He's one huge eye, almost like a staticky eye with immense power. He has no normal form. He is endless, in my opinion. He is endless. But with that, he needs to spread out his power. Because if he had it all of himself, the signal tower could overcharge. It could break down. The eyes could become unfunctioning. They could become wild, almost rabid. So what he had to do was split his power into 4 pieces. The eyes, or the eye sludge, the signal tower, the lady, and the thin man. And pretty much, then we get to the final layer, the signal. The signal is the all-being, it's the creator of the signal. The signal it's just it. He is the signal. He is merely just a signal, but he's very powerful. He is very, very powerful. Being able to do almost what he desires, he can distort the world to his pleasing. But yet he has so much power, he needs to spread it. And which is why he needs puppets. Every single part of this layer are merely just puppets, with getting less and less sentience almost each time. The purest, Six and Mono, they are rewriting their own script, but yet still follow. They're almost like when you redo a script, but the old script was just good enough that all you needed to do was enhance a few lines. You only needed to change a few lines, which is exactly what they did. 6 was sent to the moor by the signal to replace the lady. And that is where Shadow 6 comes in. She is her guide. She is 6's guardian angel. This is almost why she seems immortal. When she dies in the game, the checkpoint shows her waking up, not just standing there like a normal game's checkpoint. She wakes up. So does Mono. Almost like a nightmare. They're just weak enough that they can't comprehend, so it's merely just a fragment of the signal controlling them, and Shadow 6 is merely a guide, a guardian angel. Once 6 supposedly dies, the signal goes back to where its presence was last strongest, reforms 6, and then the signal is re-spread out, goes back to her, Shadow 6 reborn. And that is what the hunger scenes are. They are the signal weakening in 6, because she's breaking more free. She's breaking more free from the tether, gaining her more own consciousness, and because of that, it needs food. The signal needs food to replenish itself. And then we have but 6 was merely sent there to replace the lady who was greedy. She was getting greedy of her own beauty. She was manipulating the Signal. The Signal does not like to be manipulated. He is the one to do the manipulating around here, not anyone else. He is very self-centered. He cares merely for only himself. So, he sends Six over to kill the Maw. And yes, I said kill the Maw. The Maw is also its own being, merely like an egg for the Signal, which is the lady. It is a protective casing, but yet no one else was. She was merely to be taken care of by the janitor and the chefs. But like I said, she was disgusted by their appearances. So she wanted the guests to come along so they could be butchered into masks. And to make them seem, quote unquote, more pretty. Because if you see the chefs under, they have their tongues sticking out. They have very weird. But the masks make them seem nicer. They seem more colourful. Less dull, less weird, less demented. And then the Thin Man, he's just the script. He is there. He is following the script. He is loyal. But, yeah. The layer could go on and on. The Maw is merely just a protective casing for the lady. But she's manipulating it. And the Granny, yep, don't think I forgot about the Granny, is merely there to remind the lady of what will happen to her if she carries on with this path. If she carries on for too long, she's going to be punished into becoming the Granny. The Granny is there to simply just to remind the lady of what will happen if she goes off the script. Anyway, I've been Infinite ZX. You've been lovely to talk to. You didn't get this far. Well, that is my theory, or so I call it, the onion theory, the signal onion theory. Anyway, Infinite ZX, out.